Hi everyone, I'm Sandy and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a tag for you. This is an original tag that was created by Jolene at Bookworm Adventure Girl and AJ Dunn from AJ Dunn Reads and Writes, and they both tagged me in their original video. So I want to make sure I got this one out as fast as possible. Plus it's a pretty cool tag with a lot of unique prompts in it. So prompts that I hadn't actually seen before. So I'm very excited to be sharing this one with you today, and it is the Think Twice book tag. So let's jump right into the prompts. Okay, so for prompt one, Double Vision, a book that features twins. So for this one, I'm going to say Unsettled Ground by Claire Fuller. I read this book last year sometime, I believe, and it has a set of twins who are 51 years old and living with their mother, and their mother dies unexpectedly, and they have to try and deal with the world, and they are no way equipped to be able to deal with anything. And so it's a fascinating story. I really enjoyed that one quite a bit when I read it. So yeah, that's my answer. Unsettled Ground by Claire Fuller. Number two, Double Talk, a book with two or twice in the title. So for this one, I was looking through my shelves and struggling to find something, and then I watched Anne with a Book's version of this tag, and she held up A Tale of Two Cities. I had this one sitting on my desk and just didn't even connect it with this prompt. I was able to find a different book for this prompt, and it's a book I haven't read yet, and it's nonfiction, which is Between Two Kingdoms. And so this one, I'm seriously considering making this my nonfiction book pick for October. It is one, it says a memoir of a life interrupted. I've heard kind of mixed things about it, but I love this cover so much. I really love that van, makes me think of Little Miss Sunshine, but Between Two Kingdoms, I'm going to go with that one. All right, Seeing Double, a book with a reflection, shadow, or mirror images on the cover. So I know that Jolene actually had picked Life After Life by Kate Atkinson with the mirror image of the rose. And I was, well, should I have duplicates of what Jolene had? But I'm going to give a different answer for this one. I'm going to give You by Carolyn Kepnes. This cover makes me think it's a reflection, it's a shadow, it's very blurry. I haven't read this one yet. I know AJ really thinks very highly of this book, and I really do want to read this one. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I can't imagine why. I only have 900 and something books on my 1001 countdown left to read, but I'm going to go with this one because I do think this is kind of a shadowy cover. Take Two, two book covers that look similar but are by different authors. I picked these two. How Beautiful We Were by Imolo Mbu and The Death of Vivek Oji by Akweke Amaze. It's the colors and the swirly kind of the lines of these that make me feel like they are very similar. One has a face, one doesn't have a face, but yeah, definitely it's the swirly, beautiful pinks and reds on the covers that make me think that these two are very similar. So yeah, very good books, by the way. I did read this one for the Book 2 prize. I don't remember if I read this one for the Book 2 prize or for some other reason, or it was just a buddy read. It might have just been a buddy read. Anyway, those are the two. All right. I second that. Prompt number, whatever this is, prompt number 5, I second that, a retelling. So for this one, I'm going with this one, These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, which is a Romeo and Juliet retelling. I love showing this book because the cover is just magnificent on this book. Whoever designed this, absolutely brilliant. Beautiful, beautiful cover of this book. The book itself is, kind of okay, and it'll come up again in another prompt, but yeah, These Violent Delights. Number 6, Two Can Play That Game. A character who plays two roles or has an alter ego. This one's a little bit of a different kind of an answer. It's a nonfiction book, actually, which is Empire of Pain, The Secret of the Sackler Dynasty by Patrick Radden Keefe. And I am picking this one because the Sackler family really tried to have two alter egos in their lives. They were this empire pushing the use of OxyContin, pushing subscriptions of OxyContin on one side, and then trying to be seen as this philanthropic member of the arts who were donating and creating wings and all these different things, when on the other side they were really just causing so much pain. And this book is magnificent. I read it definitely for the Book 2 prize, and I read it way back in January, and it still sticks with me. I still get angry about things in this book, but yeah, I'm going to go with that one. mainly because, yeah, the Sackler family really had an alter ego that they were showing to the public and then what they were doing behind the scenes. Number 7, It Takes Two, A Duology. So this is where These Violent Delights comes back in. This is actually the only duology I found on my shelf, which is this one. These Violent Delights and Our Violent Ends by Chloe Gong. Again, beautiful covers, absolutely gorgeous. Kind of a young adult, angsty in some ways, kind of retelling of Romeo and Juliet. But I guess Romeo and Juliet itself is teenage angsty to begin with. So, but these two are the duology, and they're the only duology I think I found on my shelf. So, yep, these two. All right. Number 8, On the Double, a book told in 2 timelines. I'm going to go with Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead. There's definitely 2 timelines in this. There's one with the pilot, whose name I believe is Marion, but I could be wrong. I don't actually have the book here. I loaned it to my mother. And then the second one, which is the current timeline, which is an actor that is going to play the pilot. And those 2 timelines, it goes back and forth between those 2. I did really enjoy that book quite a bit as well, and would recommend it for a read. All right. Number 9, A Perfect Pair. The last 2 books you gave 5 stars to. Okay, so I am stingy with 5 stars. I know I am, unreasonably so. I really should look at, a better way of rating things. But for me to give a book 5 stars, I have to have loved it. It absolutely has to be one that is right up at the top of anything that I have read this year. And so for me, the first one is Winter Dance by Gary Paulsen. I've mentioned this book on my channel before. This is the story of Gary Paulsen running the Iditarod for the first time. And this book made me laugh. It made me be concerned for the dogs. If you're not familiar with Iditarod, it is a dog sled race that is based up in Alaska and goes, I believe, from, was it Juneau to, I don't remember where it goes now. It's been too long. But there are parts of this book that just made me chuckle. It made me feel for Gary Paulsen. Absolutely wonderful book. If you like books about the outdoors, this is a great one. And then the second one was a buddy read that I did with Heidi from My Reading Life. And Heidi, you're now tagged for this. And it is Margaret Atwood's Cat's Eye. And this was a book I wasn't expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but I immediately got pulled in with the main character, who I believe's name is Eleanor. Could be wrong. Names sometimes of books that I read a while ago escape me. I love these editions. I'm only missing 2 now, by the way, out of this set. But Cat's Eye was absolutely wonderful. It was a book I, again, wasn't expecting, but Cat's Eye was the other one I've somewhat recently gave 5 stars to. Number 10, Two for the Show, a book that has been adapted to film 2 or more times. So the first one that immediately came to mind was Persuasion by Jane Austen. It's been adapted, from what I could find, 4 times in 2022, 2007, 1995, and 1971. I've heard the 2022 version is not good. So the book that I'm going to pick, if I can find it, because I've moved things. All right, the book that I'm going to pick is Death on the Nile, which has been adapted 2 times. Once with Peter Ustinov, I believe back in the 70s, and more recently in 2022. And so I have seen the 2022 version, but it's been a number of years since I've seen the version in the 70s. But Death on the Nile is the one I'm going to pick. Okay. Number 11, Two's Company, a book with 2 or more authors, or a translated fiction book. I'm going translated fiction and showing another 5-star book for me, which was The Tin Flute by Gabrielle Roy. This book was originally translated from the French, and it was translated by Hannah, what's your last name, Hannah? By Hannah Josephson. This poor cover of this book is just, it's falling apart, unfortunately. But this is a book that was set in World War II in Canada, about a family who is going through a lot of trials and tribulations. This book made me cry. I did this as a buddy read with Shelley Swearingen. Shelley actually sent me this book. And so, it was an absolutely wonderful read. But, it's heart-wrenching, this one. It was very, very difficult. All right, number 12, Double Take. Recommend 2 books you think would pair well together and tell us why. I'm cheating. I'm completely cheating, and I know I'm cheating. So for this one, I said Northanger Abbey is the first one. This is Jane Austen's debut, I believe, debut novel. And, it was good as far as this book, but this book, I'm stumbling, sorry. This book, the main character is actually reading a book, and the book is Mysteries of Udolpho. And so I did read by Anne Radcliffe. I did read these two fairly recent or fairly close together, and they did pair really well. Very different styles, very different books, but I loved having the immediate reference of the two, one right after the other, and I would recommend reading them close together if you can. This was, a chunky book. This is back when I was still actually marking pages in books. And I think this one I actually read as a buddy read with AJ and Jolene. So it seemed perfect for this particular prompt. But those are the two that I'm going to say as a perfect or double take a perfect pair or would pair well together. But again, kind of a cheat because the main character in this one is reading this book or mentions this book multiple times. So those are my two. All right, so tagging people, I already tagged Heidi from My Reading Life. I'm going to tag a few other people. I do have my jar, but I need to go through it because I need to add some new people and remove some other people and that aren't making videos anymore, and I just didn't have time to do that today. So Heidi from My Reading Life, and then I also am picking Becca from Read Becca, Kelly Reads a Lot, Tiffany from Beautiful Minutia, and Dia from Novel Idea. You are all tagged in this. I'd love to see your versions of it, but that's what I have for you today. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, thanks, bye.